Well, happening today, it is Inauguration Day, and President-elect Donald Trump will be sworn in as the 47th President of the United States. And for a look ahead at what we can expect today, we have UNF professor. He is Sean Frieder here with us this morning. Sean, we appreciate you coming out. We know it's cold outside.
Absolutely.
And the weather is top of mind for a lot of folks, not just here at home, but also in D.C. So many people travel there to Washington, D.C. to watch the ceremony happen in person, but the ceremony has been moved to indoors. What will they actually be able to see?
Actual visibility of the ceremony is going to be pretty limited for those that bought tickets. There's maybe about 250,000 people that bought tickets, so they're not going to be able to be shoved into the rotunda where they're going to be doing the ceremony. The ceremony itself will go pretty quickly, probably in about an hour, from 12 to 1 at some point in there. Trump will be officially sworn in. Then they'll be headed to the Capital One Arena, where a lot of those supporters will actually be able to see some things. After that, there's going to be a signing ceremony, as is pretty typical in these cases, where several dozen executive orders will be signed and the Trump presidency will begin.
Sean, I do want to get into the reason why, because a lot of folks will be asking, low 20s, it's okay, just bundle up. But you're saying there's some serious concerns here.
I mean, you could always wonder about health concerns, maybe less security concerns, but health concerns. You do have a president nearly 200 years ago that goes out, speaks for a couple hours in front of a freezing rain in the inauguration, dies a month later. Now, there's more complications to it than that, but if you have an older president, one could say, best take caution, keep things indoors. You don't want them to get sick. And, worst case scenario, something like a serious illness, but even best case scenario, you don't want the president to be a little bit delayed in the first week when they're trying to get things off and running.
There's going to be a lot happening in the first week or so, because we're expecting 50 executive orders in day one. What can people expect in the first 100 days of Trump being in office?
Kind of a couple waves. The first maybe week or two of things, you're going to see, as you say, a lot of executive orders, a lot of undoing what the previous Biden administration did in many areas. You're going to see key areas focused on, probably a lot of executive orders having to do with immigration, particularly the border. You're going to see a lot of things having to do with tariffs, a lot of things maybe having to do with offshore drilling and other energy concerns. The TikTok lifting of that ban for 90 days, that's definitely going to be something that's important here early on. From that point on, it becomes a lot more open. There's a lot of things that Trump could run into in terms of issues. While he has unified control of Congress, it's pretty narrow in both of those chambers. So on top of executive orders and foreign policy, which he can largely control, he'll have to get a lot of support from his own party, which might be difficult given those narrow numbers. He's also coming in with relatively low approval ratings for a president. That's standard now for modern presidents given polarization, but it also makes it harder for incoming presidents to do their job compared to presidents of decades before.
Very interesting. TikTok is top of mind. We're talking about social media on Inauguration Day. It's a sign of the times, though, isn't it?
It is. I mean, this is one of those things. There's probably very few policies that he could try and enact right now that would reach maybe across the aisle or into different groups, younger people in particular, that might not necessarily be his supporters. To that extent, TikTok sort of thanked Trump yesterday for the extension of the ban. But again, the law is very clear. They have about 90 days to figure this out, and there's a lot of obstacles they have to clear before that.
Sean Frieder with UNF, we do appreciate you joining us this morning. We're going to check in now with meteorologist Louis Turner for a look ahead at that forecast. And yes, it is cold out there. Hey, Lou.